All right, so my name is Jonathan Little. It's the 28th of April, 2023. This is for week 4 of cell biology on the synthesis and movement of macromolecules. So we're going to start with insulin. Um, Insulin is produced in the beta cells of the pancreas. It's only produced there. And it starts with the transcription of the gene that encodes insulin from the DNA to the mRNA here in the nucleus. And that mRNA then travels to the rough endoplasmic reticulum because insulin's a protein. There, it produces the first polypeptide chain called pre-proinsulin. Pre-proinsulin within the rough ER again gets processed and a part of it gets chopped off and then it becomes just proinsulin. Proinsulin is packaged into a transport vesicle using a section of the rough ER's membrane, and it is delivered to the Golgi complex. It moves through the Golgi complex and has some of the sugars adjusted on it, and comes out to the end of the Golgi complex still as proinsulin, just more refined. It's put into these secretory vesicles, and it's in there that another part of the proinsulin gets chopped off and it becomes insulin. Then the insulin is stored in these secretory vesicles until glucose comes around and tells the cells that they need to release. And then the vesicle attaches to the cell wall and releases the insulin into the bloodstream to travel to whatever cells need glucose. And it connects to the insulin receptors on cell walls of other cells, and then encourages the uptake of glucose for energy. So yeah, that is insulin. Starts in the nucleus, goes through the rough ER, transport vesicle, Golgi apparatus, secretory vesicles, and then gets sent to a cell. So next is going to be a steroid. We're going to talk about aldosterone. All steroids start as cholesterol. You can either get it from your diet, or in the liver, it's synthesized in the smooth ER of the cells there. And in liver cells, this is like a generic cell, but in liver cells, there's almost no rough ER, very little. So it starts as cholesterol. It gets sent to the mitochondria, where it gets converted into, where's my note? Pregnenolone. That pregnenolone goes back to the smooth ER, turns into progesterone, and sometimes if the progesterone just stays there. Then it gets converted also in the rough ER to 11-deoxycorticosterone, back to the mitochondria, changes into corticosterone, and then interacts with aldosterone synthase and becomes aldosterone. And this process includes no vesicles. Aldosterone just moves freely within the cytoplasm, and then once produced, doesn't get stored, it just gets released immediately into the bloodstream through diffusion. Because it's a lipid, so it's easily diffused. And so yeah, that's aldosterone. Smooth ER, mitochondria, smooth ER, mitochondria, and then right out. And that gets sent to the kidneys, and in the kidneys it tells the renal tubules to get rid of potassium and to hold on to sodium. So that's the steroid. And then finally, this is, I decided for intracellular protein, I chose ribosomes because I thought it was, interesting, like how these ribosomes, they make all the proteins, like where do they come from? And so there's kind of two parts that happens. One is the rRNA, the ribosomal RNA, which is a functional unit in the ribosome. That gets transcribed from the DNA in the nucleolus, and then gets secreted into the rest of the nucleus, and some adjustments happen. And then the mRNA for the ribosomal protein gets encoded, gets transcribed there as well. And then that's sent out of the nucleus to a free ribosome that uses that to produce a ribosomal protein, actually many ribosomal proteins. And then you take RNA, rRNA rather, and ribosomal protein, which comes back into the cell. They combine and they form a ribosome. They undergo, in here in the nucleus, they undergo like 100 different enzyme interactions to become the functional unit. And then that is sent out of the nucleus into the cytoplasm as a free ribosome, or it can also be sent to the rough endoplasmic reticulum to attach to that, to be a bound ribosome. And this one does not leave the this one does not leave the cell. This just stays right inside. And yeah, those are the production and movement and secretion of the three macromolecules.